So we've all been there. We have our iPhone charger cable and the insulation, the outer white layer is giving way, and the shield is completely broke loose. And now we're down to just 4 20-gauge wires internally holding everything together. And usually these cables give out shortly after this because of all the stress and strain we're putting on the wires. They're just not gonna hold up very long. So let me show you 3 solutions, good, better, and best. We'll start off with the good, and that is just gonna use classic electrical tape. Now this is the best electrical tape on the market. It is 3M Super 33. It is going to be black. If you want white electrical tape, you can also get the 35. And that comes in white and a few other colors. Now you can look below this video and you'll see links to all these different products for your reference. But the electrical tape is going to be a quick fix and really extend out this life. Now there are 2 different things that people usually do wrong when it comes to applying electrical tape. So let me show you how to correctly apply electrical tape to give the longest life to even this good solution. What I'll do is I'll start off with electrical tape at the top of the plastic housing. I will not stretch it out, and I'll just apply it to that plastic housing. Then I'll go ahead and I'll start to wrap, and I'll stretch the electrical tape out a little bit, which helps the electrical tape bond to itself, and it just makes for a tighter install. Then you'll slowly angle the electrical tape down, so we'll work our way down the cable. Again, stretching that electrical tape out as we go down. But it should be a pretty tight wrap as you go along. And then at the end, you do not want to do this. Classically, people will pull and snap that off. And what that does is it makes the end so it doesn't really bond that well. So although we were stretching electrical tape the whole time, you actually just want to cut it off at the end and not stretch it. And just go ahead and fold that back, getting our end product. So again, this will stretch out the life of your cable. It will protect those 20-gauge wires inside, but there are better solutions. So let's step up to the better solution. So option 2, or the better solution, we have a different cable, pretty much the same failure mode. But this is something you might need to spend about $5 or $6 on, and this is an assortment pack of standard heat shrink. You can get this, specifically I got this one at Harbor Freight for $6, all sorts of different sizes in it, and this thing, if you don't do a lot of electronics work around the house, probably will last you the rest of your life. For $6, hard to go wrong. Now sizing wise, we want to get the smallest one possible to get over this housing, because when we shrink it down, again, this cable's small, and heat shrink does shrink down, but only to a ratio, and this is a standard 2:1. It's going to reduce the diameter by a factor of 2. 3/16 would be right here. 3/16 would be ideal for the cable, but you're going to be a little hard pressed to get that over the lightning port here. Now, if you wanted to, you could try to bring needle nose pliers in and kind of stretch that guy out, and then try to get it over the end. Again, it's going to be pretty tough. It's going to want to bounce back to that original diameter. But if you want to, you can try to slip that down there, and it could work for you. The nice thing is if you get that on there, it's going to be ideal for the cable, since the cable is much smaller diameter. Or you can step up to that 9/32 here and use the standard black, or maybe other family members continue to steal your cable and you want something that you can easily identify, so you can use a blue here so you know where your cable's at and if somebody else has snagged it from you. So this is easy enough. Again, I'm going to put it to the edge of the housing. I'm going to use a heat gun. You could use a heat gun or a lighter, and then just apply heat while rotating the wire. So it is as easy as that. You're going to have a very tight bond here up top, and then you're going to have a pretty good bond at the bottom, but there'll be a little bit of a gap there. Super quick, but even if you have to buy the entire kit, this is about 1/3 of the cost of replacing the cable to have the ability to protect that damaged area, and it is going to give you a little bit more strain relief in that area. and that's going to help to protect those wires so they're not taking the full load and then failing shortly after being exposed like that. So that is the better solution. Now let's go to the best. So now for the best solution, and yes, we will be using an old pen, but I do want to start off by just protecting this damaged area with that electrical tape. So once you get a quick wrap on there, then you'll take your old pen, one that you don't really like, maybe it's out of ink, because we just need one part, and that is the spring. Now for the spring, we do not need the whole thing, so what we'll do is go ahead and snip off the ends. And I would just use some side cutters like this, an old set. I would not use your nice wire strippers because even something like this can damage the cutting edge on your wire strippers. And then we'll take our spring and we'll go ahead and wrap that around the cable. All right, so once you get that done, then you'll move it all the way up. All right, so now we have the electrical tape basically insulating or protecting our wires. We have the spring over top that's going to give us a little bit more strain relief. And now we're going to use heat shrink again, but we're going to one-up it. This is marine heat shrink, and it has an heat-activated adhesive lining. So that even helps to make it a little bit more waterproof. Now we're going to go with the 1/4 inch. And then just like the better solution, we're going to fit that down over to the edge of the housing, and then we'll go ahead and heat things up. So what makes this the best solution is it takes about the same amount of time. The cost, again, is about $5 or $6 for this. It is a 1/3 or a 3-to-1, so it actually shrinks a little more. So you can take that 1/4 inch to get it over the housing for the lightning port, and then it's going to shrink down to the cable size. And also you can see the adhesive coming out the end, which helps to make this really watertight. And then once it cools down, it actually gives it even more rigidity. So we have the spring in there that gives us a little spring, and then we have the adhesive that's going to give you more rigidity. So this is the best solution because it's just as quick, the cost is very similar, and it just makes for a very nice finished product. Now let me know down in the comments which one is your favorite solution. By far, I go with the best solution, the marine grade with that adhesive. Once it cools, it just makes for a very rigid and waterproof solution that will really extend out the life of your cable. Remember, links for the products down in the description, or if you have a Harbor Freight in your area, you can stop by and get an assortment kit like this, which I consider to be consumables and was on the list of the things that I buy at Harbor Freight, but there's many things I don't buy at Harbor Freight. If you want that complete list, check out this video right here. I'll quickly run you through, as Harbor Freight can be a real resource for homeowners, but you can also waste time buying the wrong things. So thanks for joining me on this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.